All right, let's get into it. There is a massive shift happening in cybersecurity right now. You could almost call it a war, a battle between these new AI-powered attackers and the old guard of defense. And today, we're going to break down who's winning and why.
So this is the big question, isn't it? It's what keeps every security leader up at night. I mean, we're spending billions and billions of dollars on defense, so why does it constantly feel like the attackers are just always one step ahead?
And the answer, when you boil it down, is brutally simple. It's because their whole game has changed. We're not fighting off sporadic attacks from humans anymore. Nope. We're up against these relentless, automated, 24/7 assaults that never, ever sleep.
And that brings us right to the heart of the matter, what our sources are calling the attacker's unfair advantage. The real issue here is that our digital environments, our cloud, our code, it's all in this constant state of flux. It's changing way faster than our security teams can possibly keep up.
This so-called advantage really comes down to two things. First, you've got your own dev teams using AI to ship new code faster than ever before, which, hey, it's great for business, but it also creates this enormous, ever-changing attack surface. And on the other side, attackers are using their AI to automate incredibly sophisticated attacks, day and night. Put those two things together, and you get these giant, terrifying blind spots for the security folks.
Okay, so if the attacks have totally evolved, what about our defenses? Well, this is where the old playbook just completely falls apart. Our sources have a great name for it: security theater. You know, things that look like they're working, that make you feel safe, but are actually failing when it counts.
Just look at this disconnect right here. A company might do an annual penetration test. That's a single snapshot. One day where a team of humans tries to break in. But what about the other 364 days of the year? Well, that's when the automated attacks are just running wild, probing and exploiting every little change that's happened since those testers went home.
And, it's not just about how often we test. The old tools, they just overwhelm teams. They generate thousands of alerts for potential vulnerabilities, but they don't tell you which ones are actually dangerous, which ones an attacker can really use. It's just noise. They don't actually reduce your risk.
So if the problem is that attackers are using AI, well, the solution seems kind of obvious, right? You've got to fight fire with fire. And this is where we see a whole new paradigm in security taking shape, using AI to think, act, and attack just like a real adversary.
And let's be clear, this isn't just some far-off concept. The market is pouring money into this idea. I mean, look at this. One of the companies at the forefront here, Novee, just pulled in $51.5 million. That's a huge signal that investors are betting big on this approach.
So what exactly is an AI hacker? Well, think of it like an AI that's been built to perfectly mimic an elite hacker. It doesn't just scan for problems. It actively tries to break into your systems. It finds the actual path an attacker would take. And then, and this is the absolute key, it tells you exactly how to fix it.
And you're seeing security leaders really get behind this. This quote here from John Barrow, a CISO, says it all. He points out the two biggest failures of the old way. It's way too slow and it misses critical stuff. This new model, it promises to be instant and way more comprehensive.
Okay, so how in the world does an AI actually think like a hacker? Let's pop the hood and take a look at how this thing really works.
It all boils down to this logical, continuous loop. First, it discovers your entire environment, mapping everything out just like an attacker would. Then it detects weaknesses. And we're talking about those complex chains of exploits that basic scanners always miss. Then, crucially, it validates them. It proves the threat is real, which gets rid of all that false positive noise. Step 4 is the game changer. It gives you the exact fix. And then it just repeats the whole thing over and over, automatically adapting every time you change something. Now, it's really important to understand this isn't just, some generic chatbot AI. We're talking about a specialized, purpose-built AI reasoning model that has been trained specifically on offensive security tactics. It's a specialist.
And the data really shows why that specialization is so critical. Look at this. When you test these models on finding real security exploits, Novee's specialized model is hitting around 90% accuracy. Now compare that to the big general-purpose LLMs. They're down around 35%. I mean, that is a night and day difference in performance.
So what does this all mean for the future of security? Well, it's signaling a huge shift in focus. We're moving away from just generating stacks of reports and toward actually measurably reducing real-world risk.
This table really puts it all in perspective. The old way, with legacy scanners, it's maybe quarterly or annual. The output is just alerts and reports. The focus is just on finding vulnerabilities, and the whole approach requires a ton of manual work. The AI hacker model? It's continuous, 24/7. The output is validated exploits and the actual fixes. The focus is on reducing real-world risk, and the workflow is automated. It's a totally different world.
And that's why this isn't just a small improvement or some new add-on tool. The way the sources frame it, this is a complete replacement model for how modern companies need to think about and manage their cyber risk.
And it all comes back to this fundamental shift in what success even means in security. For a long time, it was about how many vulnerabilities you could find. But that's changing. Now success is about how quickly you can reduce real-world risk. How fast can you fix the things that actually matter before an attacker gets there first?
And that really brings us to the final, critical question that everyone in this field needs to ask themselves. It's a simple question, but the answer can be pretty tough. Is your security program actually reducing risk? Or is it just getting really, really good at producing reports? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.